Welcome to the Music and Memories Podcast with your host, Vince Moreno.
Welcome to another episode of Music and Memories, ladies and gentlemen, with your host, me, Aaron Tippin. No, that's my guest. We've been drinking some wine. I'm your host, Vince Moreno, sitting here with my buddy and boss, but more so, I think, my friend, Mr. Aaron
Well, let's
Tippin.
just watch the questioning tonight.
Let's see where this goes from here.
Hey, buddy, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and what's funny is we're always on the road together.
And
there's like never time to do it.
No time ever to do it. And that's the way it goes out. We folks that don't know our job. I mean, you can literally, and people are always saying like, well, you're on the show with Sammy and Colin and what you guys do? We do nothing. We get ready for a show. That's what we do. And same with me and you. Even though we're on the same bus,
right?
We'll get up and go different ways to do different things.
Yeah, and people think like we get to the show and like, oh, we went whitewater rafting together.
Exactly.
Not
exactly.
Something like that, golfing or fishing or something all day.
And there might be those that do, but we don't have that privilege.
And there might be a day that we'd go do shooting guns or something together.
If we have a day off or something.
Yeah.
But honestly, when it's a work day, it's a work day.
Well, that being said, I drove out here to your house and we had dinner out here at that's Dalton, isn't it? Where the restaurant's at.
No, it is. It's considered
Dalton?
No, it's not. It's actually considered Smithville. Yeah, because it stops right at the edge of the high school, or just the top of the hill. So pretty close. But old El Rancho, where they treat you like a king. Why is that?
They should sponsor this podcast right now.
They should sponsor it. But why? Why do they treat you so nice? And I go there every week.
I think,
and they hand me a broom when I get ready.
The guy said something funny tonight there when I handed him my debit card. I think he thinks like that I have money or something. I don't know why.
He'll find out.
Yeah, he didn't know that I just bought dinner tonight. That's the one time this year, but I don't know. Anyway, we drove over here in the pouring rain. It's pouring and lightning and crazy stuff. And
Tennessee is a swamp right now.
It is. It's flooding everywhere. And you live at the top of a hill, thank goodness. But
we got a boat. We got a boat.
You got a boat?
Yeah. Well, it's a kayak. I think we can all fit on it.
We can float in it, though. We can float, as long as it floats. But that brought me to an interesting point. A lot of people, we'll talk about music and all that stuff in a minute, but we were driving in through the lightning over here, and I was thinking that you have a story about lightning, a couple stories about lightning. And most people probably don't know this, but you've been struck how many times by lightning?
Twice. I've been hit twice.
You just didn't learn the first time then, did you?
Like I tell Sammy, slow learner.
Slow learner.
No, really, that's the first time me and my dad and a neighbor were building a farm fence or a hog fence, and it's woven wire, so it's a big stretch of wire, I don't know for folks that are familiar with farm living and what you do. A hog can't have a barbed wire fence because he'll just walk right through it. So it's got to be a pin type.
Or eat it.
Yeah, or eat it. And so anyway, we were working on that. My dad, he's an old tough guy, and he wouldn't knock off for nothing because during the week he was a professional pilot, and on the weekends we were farmers.
Right.
And so from Friday evening to Monday morning, we farmed.
Yeah.
And buddy, we farmed hard. I mean, from daylight till dark, no lunch, we quit working when it was too dark.
That sounds like a song. We
or something
hard.
broke. Well, write that down.
Let's write that down. We'll put a marker on here.
Anyway, so, it's a little thunderstorm, ain't nothing to that. Come on, let's go there. We'll do it. And so the whole deal was, this is funny. This is the funny part. The whole deal was our friend was a deacon in our local Baptist church, and Dad didn't get home. Like I said, weekend was for working on the farm.
Right.
So he didn't make it to church a lot, and so one of the deacons, our neighbor, old Bud Turner, said, Tip, I'll tell you what, I'll come help you finish that fence if you'll come to church. So that was what we were doing. And that's what we were doing. And man, God just goes show you God's got a sense of humor.
That sounds like a little Catholic guilt getting put on there. I grew up with that too, so if you don't come build this fence.
Church. So anyway, Bud is doing the stapling, and you're either putting it on a post or you're stapling it to a tree. And it was a big old tree.
Yeah.
Big oak tree, and it was a little bit of a tight pull. So I'm on one side of the wire. My dad's on the other side of the wire, and we're pulling it back so old Bud can strike that first staple, and put it in there. And once you get it set, then you just kind of pull them back,
sure,
one wire at a time till you get it hooked, And so anyway, he was reared back to strike that thing. Me and Dad had it pulled right against her for his first, and he set the staple and he reared back. And just go show you, God has perfect timing and a sense of humor. As soon as he hit that staple, that lightning went through that fence.
That's when it popped you.
That's when it hit us.
So your dad was holding it too? Did he? Did he get hit too?
All three of us got hit.
Oh, I did not know that.
No, all three of us got hit. So.
Oh wow.
So that's the first thing. Next thing I realized, I felt a big buzz, bzzz, like I was holding a chainsaw running wide open. Mm-hmm. But then I felt my back hit the ground and my head, and I thought, wow, I must have really pissed my dad off because he just knocked the crap out of me.
Hit the hell out of me.
So anyway,
it wrong?
So I looked up and he's looking at me. Both our eyes are big as silver dollars.
Right.
And we can and Bud is laying on his back, looking at us in the same way, and I can see the hammer going through the woods behind him.
Oh wow! Just flying away.
Just flying away. From that,
did it have flame on it or anything? Or?
I didn't see any flames,
but
it was leaving.
Wow, I've heard you tell that story a few times, and I never knew that your dad was hit too, and he was. I thought it was you that was holding the hammer.
No, I was holding the fence along with my dad. It's one of those places where and you kind of estimate all that stuff.
That's fine. And then it goes.
And, you kind of estimate that stuff. And on a fence, you want to pull it as tight as you can. So what you do is you take the come along, you pull it a little bit, and then you go, let's pull it against her. And if that's not enough, then you winch it a little tighter, and then both get on it where you can just barely hold it tight because a hog will get under a fence, and when he roots it up, he's out, and so are 25 other hogs.
Yeah, so you're just gauging it by how if the fence should lay out and how it should be. You know.
Anyway, so that was the first time. Second time hurt a lot worse. Me and I once again, as you're sitting here with me, Vince. Be careful because I've never been hit alone.
Oh, is that true?
That's the problem. When you see thunderstorms come up, get away from me.
I think the storm moved out, so that's hopefully good.
So anyway, so the second time I was doing excavation work. I was playing the honky tonks at night in my hometown, and in the daytime I ran a bulldozer and dump truck and excavator and did earthwork, in the daytime. But on rainy days you can't dig. So you work in the shop if you got a good boss. And we had a good boss, so he'd let us work in the shop. And so we're working in the shop. We're working on a dump truck, trying to take the front axle from under it because it's getting kind of wobbly. Bearings are going out, and he's got a really nice one over here, and we're gonna put that one back under it. So we got it jacked up, and we're working on it, and we got the bed raised up because it's raining. We don't want water to settle in the bed, so we raise the bed up, and I'm underneath it. And I got a big, long pry bar, about 8 foot long, and I'm trying to, our jack's extended as far as it'll go that's holding up the frame. Okay. And I know if I can just get this one side out, we can work the other side out and get this axle out from under it, put the other one under it, and then shackle it back down. Yeah. And lo and behold, I'm pulling down on that pry bar, trying to get that axle out from under. I'm under the left side of the truck. This is the interesting part is I'm on the left side of the truck and I'm pulling down hard as I can, laying on my back, pulling and and all of a sudden the next thing I feel is something hit the side of my head.
That's what it felt like. Somebody hit you on the side of your head.
This is a lightning spinning me out from under the truck. Wow. I hit the right wheel on my way out from under the truck.
Dang.
So when I came to, I'm looking at the ceiling of the shop, and I'm going, oh, my God. I've been hit by lightning
again. Oh,
again. And so my first impulse is to jump up and run. But I realize I can't feel my legs.
Oh, no.
So I'm thinking, okay, it's blowing my legs off. I'm probably going to bleed out here just any time. I finally got up enough nerve to look down. And I went, oh, there's my legs. I guess I'm just paralyzed for life. Oh. So anyway.
Well, that's going to be a scary feeling.
Well, and then I heard my partner's voice, old Tim. He said, Aaron, you all right? Because it knocked him down.
Oh,
It
wow.
knocked him out. Because he was hanging on to the fender of the truck.
Oh, that's why you say you've never been alone when you've been hit.
Because it hit him too. He's accomplice on that one.
Dang.
And so anyway, I said, Tim, I said, I can't get up. And so he ran around this side of the truck and he picked me up. And we went around. Now, my boss's shop, the only thing between the back door of his house and the shop entrance is a driveway, a one-lane driveway. So Tim picks me up. He takes me around to the entrance of the shop facing the boss's back porch. Mm-hmm. We look up, and there comes his wife, Lorraine, and she's looking out through the screen door.
Yeah.
You know, and Tim says, Lorraine, open the door. Aaron's hurt. I'm bringing him in. And she had a dish towel in her hand. I'll never forget it. I lived in a million. She had a dish towel in her hand and wringing her hands. I guess she'd been washing dishes. And she just turned and walked away back into the house.
What?
And for that split second, I think me and him both had the same thought.
You thought you were dead.
We thought we weren't there anymore.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
That's
my
eerie.
heart sunk. And I know he felt the same thing because it was pouring rain. I mean, and he just drugged me across that driveway through the pouring rain. And I mean, pouring rain. And we got to the door. He yanked it open. And she was just about to turn to go. She turned around and looked and said, oh, my gosh, what's happened?
Yeah. Oh.
And the truth was she couldn't see through the rain.
Oh, I was going to say, did you ever find out why she didn't?
But that moment, I'm telling you, man, we thought we were goners.
So obviously, it felt a lot different than the first time you got hit because you're holding a bigger metal item or whatever.
Right. Well, I think it got a better charge and less of an area. Like it hit the bed of the truck. We saw where it hit it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And if it hadn't been for that 10-ton jack holding up the frame, we would have taken all the load.
Oh, man.
And it'd have fried us.
That's so crazy.
It would have fried us. I mean, and the only thing I had by the end of that, Tim didn't have. It just knocked him down, knocked him out. But I had a hole in my left elbow. It looked like somebody had stuck me with a number 3 pencil. I mean, it had a little black hole right there, a burnt hole. And that's where the electricity shot out of my elbow down into ground.
And that's probably from where you were holding the bar.
Where I was holding the bar.
And
it was a faster route to ground.
Wow.
And the second place was on the top of my butt, bottom of my spine. There was for about 3 weeks, a huge black bruise. And it took about 15 minutes for my feeling to come back in my legs.
Whew. That's scary, man.
Well, it was because we'd already called for EMS, and then I got to where I could move my feet, and so we called.
Well, you just need to quit working in the rain.
I don't do it much.
I guess
the only time I will lay out in a thunderstorm is if a turkey's still gone.
Oh, well, that's different. Yeah,
different, man.
Lightning doesn't strike a 12-gauge gun, does it?
Baby.
Far. Well, remind me not to hunt with you in the rain then.
Mm-hmm. If it's raining, buddy.
Yeah.
Get away from me. Not raining, just thunderstorms. They're bad. Rain.
Well, let's say rain and lightning is two different things. But you said something a minute ago about working with doing dirt work and working with loaders and stuff like that. That's kind of one of your passions anyway, isn't it?
Oh, it is, man. That's something I grew up with. I'm a farm boy. I'm like you, raised hard, living, and working hard. And so it was just a natural. With the first machine we ever bought to tame our property when I grew up in South Carolina was a 410 John Deere gas burning bulldozer.
Wow.
And man, that thing was a piece of junk.
But it's still fun to run though.
Well, and thanks to my brother, my older brother, he was a mechanical genius, man. He could make anything run. And so, when it would quit, my dad would cuss and scream. He'd say, I'll get it, Dad. I'll get it.
Oh, really? And he was that
And he'd
good.
fix it. He was that kind of good. He built all his amps. He was our musician of the family.
Oh, really?
Oh, he built all his amps. Man, he'd buy junk amps. I mean, wrecked to pieces. He'd put them back together. His guitars, he'd buy them tore up.
Well, you say that, and I don't think I've ever known that, but is he the reason that you started getting into music? Or were you already into music too?
No, not really. Even though at his death, my brother died at a young age, died at 18. But at his death, my mom thought it'd really be cool if I learned to play, because he had all these guitars. And so I tried to learn to play, but my instructor at that time he didn't want to teach me the fun of playing music.
Oh, yeah, none of them do. Yeah, they want to teach you scales. And,
Ding, 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 ding. And I'm going, can you teach me to play a song?
no kid wants to learn that crap.
Well, maybe that's why I learned to write songs. Cause never mind, I'll get it.
Well, I remember I had maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 lessons from one of the guys in my hometown, and he was the same way. Okay, let's learn, how to play. Kookaburra sits in the gum tree
and showing you notes.
And I'm like, that's not on the radio.
Yeah, that's not on the radio.
How am I supposed to learn anything or make money doing this song? So
right.
Yeah, I totally get that. Where
same way.
You kind of lose interest in it in a way.
And Emery was the first one who although my grandmother was a concert violinist. Who never pursued it professionally. I mean, she had that type of quality training, European training. This was back in the 20s.
So you have music in the family blood.
Yeah, from both sides, actually. I didn't even know my mom was such a good singer till I got in the music business. And one day I'm home for the weekends, and she's in there singing harmony to the radio. And I'm going,
and you're like, what?
Where did you learn that?
Wow.
Oh, son, I want to be in your band.
Well, you got kind of thrown into it, really. I mean, you didn't have it on your mind at all back then? Did it even cross your mind?
Whatsoever.
That's
None
crazy.
Whatsoever. I mean, I was all about pilot. My dad, flew professionally.
Yeah.
I was the only kid he had out of 4 kids that loved aviation like he did.
Yeah.
And so, that's all I cared about. It's all I ever wanted to do. And music, I had no way of knowing this was going to happen.
That's so crazy because most people you talk to I was born to do this.
Well, dude, look at you. Look how hard you've worked at this all your life.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get embarrassed over that, of the fact that, man, there's guys a lot more deserving than me, and all I can say that is I got lucky and I wrote a few.
Well, it ain't deserving.
Cool songs.
I mean, when you're good, you're good.
Well,
I mean, you're good at what you do.
But I think it's from the songwriting aspect that I got some quality.
Yeah.
Look at singers. I mean, I'm certainly not the cream of the crop, but I think the songs are what make the singer. I've always believed in that.
Sure.
But I just love a song.
Yeah.
And I love writing a song.
It just blows me away to know that, you just weren't growing up thinking, man, I just want to be a singer, or I just want to be in the music business, or I want to be a star, or whatever. I mean, and you're just out there tinkering on planes and running bulldozers and stuff, and didn't even cross your mind until your mom said, "I want you to pick up where your brother left off." Pretty much, right?
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't even then, Vince. I mean, really? I went, this is stupid, man. I don't want to learn these notes and all that. I want to play. And anyway, so I kind of left it for a while.
Yeah.
But then I got into high school and I got into bluegrass music, which is very regional to where I'm from in Appalachians.
Sure.
And I love that music, man. I love Appalachian music. And so that led me to the banjo. And that's where I started learning music, really.
Oh.
And at this time, I'm being a corporate pilot. And on the weekends, I'm playing a little banjo and singing a little bit of tidbit.
That's a tidbit I did not know about you.
Really?
I've got a little bit of ammo now.
Oh, no. Yeah, what's the old joke? How many banjos it take the bottom of a lake? That's a good start. Something like that.
I don't know how many glasses of wine does it take to get a banjo.
To kill a banjo player. I don't know.
Let me ask you something, because we can get into this later, too, in more in depth. But I know your dad had a really, really big influence on you, and that's where you get your aviation part from. But did he ever say, "Oh, son, I don't want you learning that guitar or that banjo," or did he give you any shit about that, or did he encourage it?
I tell you what happened. My dad, aviation was it. and he spent a lot of his life teaching me to fly.
Right.
And and I'm very appreciative for that.
Sure.
But I in the late 70s, I just realized that there was an energy crunch going on. And I was looking at the airlines because I wanted to go to work for Piedmont or Delta or American or
Was that flying or mechanicing on it?
no, that's flying.
Okay.
That's flying because flying was all I wanted to do. I mean, I became a mechanic just because it was part of aviation.
Okay.
And and if you really love airplanes, you want to know all you can know.
Well, sure.
And when it hits the fan, if you're a mechanic, your brain does a different thing than a pilot does. I mean, you start thinking differently.
True that.
When you're in the situation,
Yeah.
your pilot part of you flies the airplane and makes things happen, but your mechanic brain goes, what's going on here?
Or why
what's
is this-
happening?
or I know why
how
this
can
is
I
happening.
fix this?
Right.
And it
Yeah.
works a lot faster and better. So anyway,
Sure.
But it's
You would
just
think that goes hand in hand with any pilot. I mean,
well, and yes, every pilot should want to be a mechanic.
Right.
Every pilot should
Yeah.
want to be a mechanic because it just makes you smarter when it's really tough and things.
Sure.
When you're down the last row to hoe.
I
Anyway,
would think so.
no, had no aspirations whatsoever. But the late '70s showed me that I wasn't going to make the airlines. I was
Really?
not a college grad. I just felt like I wasn't going to get the chance to.
were they looking for specific, like, stereotypical?
Well, they
person
started
or-
furloughing pilots, because of that crunch, the energy crunch.
okay.
So they're furloughing pilots. Before that, there was a big predicted boom, of hiring, and I'd be a shoo-in, man. I had the flight time. I was ready to go. I was 22, studying for my airline transport rating. I had to be 23 to take the first exam you have to take, which is a flight engineer's exam, which was for a 727. A Boeing 727.
Wow.
You had to take that to qualify to put in applications at major airlines. So anyway, I was ready to go, waiting on my birthday, and to take the exam. But I said, I've had it.
Yeah.
I'm out of here, man. So I
Really?
did, because I thought I'd flew all I wanted to, and I didn't really know who I was. Because
Did you feel like you kind of hit a
I did. I hit a
wall?
stump. I hit a wall,
Yeah.
and I went, I'm not waiting on this, because I wasn't going to wait on it. I wasn't going to wait on it. I said, it's not going to happen. So anyway, I decided I was moving on.
Wow.
And so I went home. I quit my job, flying, corporate pilot. Quit my job. Went back home, told my wife, she flipped out. That's my first wife. I want a divorce.
My wife doing.
My wife did. She didn't quite understand why I did it. And anyway, so I started playing the clubs and started running Bulldozer and for my buddy. And in daytime, that's where the second lightning strike came from. And just kind of ramping along and thought, this is it.
So during a certain course of time while you're doing the corporate flying and stuff, you were picking and singing a little bit here and there.
Oh yeah,
or?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I played the average circuit, the upper northwest corner of South Carolina, a little bit of Georgia, a little bit of North Carolina, and that's kind of where I played.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 or 3 clubs that we basically worked, but sometimes we branch out to maybe 7 or 8 more.
Okay.
But mostly it was club work. And those days, man, it was rampant.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say.
you got an all-week gig.
Yeah, back then it was like packed every night and everybody's
every
coming out.
night.
Yeah, every night was a party back then. Yeah.
It was good.
Heck yeah. And so you're just playing there, and so you kind of went back to that, and were you doing it full time when you gave it the airline thing?
Well, I was doing it full time at night, and then daytime, and I ran a dozer and ran a dump truck and track loader. We had track loader, and we that's what I did, and I really kind of thought, well, this is where it's all going to end. I'm going to play the clubs till
Just kind of fall into that zone.
I had buddies that had done it, and they were my heroes. And so I thought that was cool. And I said, this ain't a bad life. I'll just ride it, out.
And then what came to the point where
divorce? Dan, 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 dan.
I think there's a song there too. So that is that what pushed you out of town, moved you away?
It really was, because
It really
always before that, folks say, Aaron, you should go to Nashville, man. You should go to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say, can't. Got a family.
Oh, yeah.
Can't. Yeah. So anyway.
So it never even crossed your mind? Really?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. And when the divorce happened, I just said, okay, I guess I got to sign.
Yeah, that's just sign.
I got to sign. So anyway,
Luckily, it wasn't a third lightning strike. Yeah. I got to get out of here. What's wrong with this state?
Maybe that's what I was running from.
Crap. There's more lightning here now. So you brought the rain. You brought the lightning here.
Brought it.
That could be your new slogan, bringing the lightning. Wow. So you didn't move straight to Nashville, though, right? Didn't you move to Kentucky first?
Yes, I did. Because I couldn't. Well, here's how that happened. So I said I decided. Here's what happened. I was on a show called "You Can Be a Star."
Oh, I remember that show.
If you want to see me as a hippie,
is that on YouTube?
I don't know if it's on YouTube or yes, it is. Okay, y'all got it. Yeah, y'all got to check that out. But I was on "You Could Be a Star."
I remember that show.
And so anyway, I won my daily, which was a song that I'd written.
Oh, really?
I taught her everything she knows. Me and Ricky Scruggs wrote it. I think I taught her everything she knows. I think that's right, man. I don't know. Anyway, so
I'm phoning a friend.
So anyway, I wrote that and not recorded. I did that on the show, won my daily, but then there was some guy behind me. Man, he was a rocking songwriter. I can't remember his name.
I was to say, do you remember who it was?
Nope, and haven't heard from him since, and don't know. But man, he was good.
Really,
and he had a cool voice, kind of high, like a Freddie Fender type of thing.
Oh, really?
Cool. And anyway.
So then you were done on that one?
I was done. So anyway, here's how this all shook out. I got my tail between my legs. I'm packing up my bags in the dressing room and heading out. And it's break time for the show. And
that's right, because that was
Jenny C. Riley was one of my judges.
I was on TV. I was going to say
it was on television.
Yeah.
So I'm done. So I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So I'm packing up my stuff and I'm just getting ready to come out of the dressing room. And Jenny C. Riley comes by and said, Aaron. She said, "Oh man," she said, "I'm so sorry you didn't win."
Yeah.
She said, "But you know what?" She said, "You got a different sound. Your voice is different." She said, "You ought to think about coming to Nashville and giving it a shot."
Bam.
And I said, "Yes, ma'am." I went home, quit my job welding at that time.
Is that all it took, really? I mean, just her telling you that?
Well, and there have been others in the prior to her, but she was a professional, so and had a career. So her saying that to me, I know she'd heard a lot of singers in her time,
and she wasn't just blowing smoke.
Right, she wasn't blowing smoke. She didn't have to say nothing. She could say,
right.
"Oh well, nice to meet you."
Yeah, exactly. See ya.
Keep going.
Yeah, sure.
But she said that to me, and it made a difference. And so I went home. I quit my job welding. I packed up my old Toyota Corolla station wagon, Daisy. Who I wrote Ain't Nothing Wrong with the Radio about, me and Buddy Brock. And I packed her up, and I turned around, I headed back up here, because I had no reason to stay. I mean, I didn't have family anymore. Well, I still have my daughter, so anyway, I came up here, and honestly, 2 days before I decided I was coming to Nashville, well, the truth is, I'd already set up appointments with these temporary services companies to find a job. And so while I was driving up, I stopped somewhere and made a call to one of my friends when I used to be in the construction business back right after high school. And he had stayed in construction and moved up quite well in the business. And I called him and just said, "Hey, man, I'm coming to Nashville, and I think you live about only 60 miles from where Nashville." He said, "Yeah." Anyway, so blah, blah, blah. We're talking. He said, "Come on up, man. Come on up. You spend a night with us. You ain't going to have a hotel, blah, blah." He said, "It's an easy drive, 1 hour down to Nashville, blah, blah, blah." So Mike loved it. And so Mike and Nina let me stay with them a few days. Meanwhile, I'm down there in Nashville trying to find a job. And so I'm sitting in there, and the first day I'm sitting in there in the temporary employment office. And all of a sudden, I filled out all the paperwork, and I'm sitting back there, And somebody says, Aaron Tippin? Is there an Aaron Tippin here? It's okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Walked up there. She handed me the telephone.
What?
It said, somebody wants to talk to you.
What?
So anyway, I pick up the phone. Mike says, you ain't signed nothing yet, have you?
Oh, my God.
I said, no, not yet. He said, don't. He said, get your ass back to Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
I got you a job.
Oh, okay.
And so, bam, I said, okay, thank you. And I hung the phone up. And I turned around and walked out the door. And he had found me a 2-week pipe welding job at the factory plant where he worked.
Oh, dang.
And so it was really cool that worked out.
And so is that where you were staying at in Kentucky?
Yeah. So,
okay.
I'm a 20-minute ride from the job. And so, anyway, that worked out. I said 2 weeks. It's a 6-week pipe job.
Okay.
This was in it's an aluminum rolling mill. Hard to explain that. Just Google it and look it up because it's a lot of stuff. But anyway, they had a pipe job, I think it was coolant piping to one of the stands that mashes the metal down, that makes beer cans and pots and pans and anything out of aluminum.
Wow.
Down to a certain width. Down to thin enough to make a beer can out of it.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what they did at this plant. And so anyway, I'm in there and I'm hired in as a welder.
Yeah.
Through a sub company, an old company I used to work for, Daniels Construction. And because they were from Greenville, South Carolina. So I'd had employment with those guys back when I was in South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that kind of worked out, and I was a welder.
So were you welding stuff that would break, or were you welding stuff to put together those presses or stuff like that? Or were you just...
We put... This is not steam pipe quality welding, which I'm certified for.
Okay.
Which is 3,000 pound stuff.
Yeah.
But this is fluid. So fluid is a type of welding you do where you want to put the root pass in with a nickeling rod so that the fluid flows over. Because if you put it in with a standard root pass rod, then it'll build up a bead on the inside, and that fluid gets in that bead, and then it penetrates it and starts leaking. So anyway, I'm getting too technical.
Oh yeah, I mean, we probably lost about 80 listeners just now. But no, tell your story, Aaron. Tell your story.
Anyway, yeah. Boy, am I getting long-winded or what? Wake up, girls.
You're listening to Music and Memories with Vince Moreno.
Okay, so kind of fast forward a little bit there, and I have to ask this. Were you, because you were really well known as a bodybuilder, pretty much your whole career as a singer or whatever too, I mean, right?
Well,
were you not?
I came to town, I got into bodybuilding right after my divorce.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
I decided I was going to live past 30.
Okay.
So I did. I went to the gym, thanks to my sister, of course.
And you did it.
I lived past 30. I made it.
You did it. Cheers. Cling.
Anyway, so I just enjoyed it, and then it becomes a passion, then it becomes an addiction, and I've never gotten over it. Even though I've left it behind a few times, but I always go back and go, I gotta get back in shape.
Well, I know you're a fanatic, man. It's and I owe a lot of every time I lose weight, it's because me and you are out on the road most of the time. So
when me and you get on it together, we do pretty good.
I say when we're together on it, when we go off the handles, I go way off. No, I go way off.
Well, I do too. That's just how it really works.
Do you think that played a role in your? As far as they say every artist has to have an image, and everything. Do you think that played a role on labels looking at you going like, man, this is a big, good looking dude? And
well, you know what? That's what I think RCA thought to start with.
Really?
But they really got some blowback.
They did.
Sure did. Hey, it's a reason. Well, this is what I was told. Reason why I wasn't asked into the Opry as a member in my flashy days was because I wore sleeveless shirts, and they didn't think that was appropriate for the Opry. So that was a problem for them.
Oh my gosh!
So anyway, and I think some of the folks at radio didn't go for that either, and
really, so
and we really played it up. I mean, we did, you know.
Well, yeah, but you're a big dude, man. I mean, you.
Well, and it wasn't because I was trying to make it that. It's just because of who I was.
Right? Yeah. It's just,
but they said, "Oh yeah." So if you'll notice my first album cover, you know, it's well, first album cover, I've got a sweater on, but when you open it up, then you kind of see who Aaron Tippin is.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm holding up a picture on our 25-year album for those you folks out there that have AaronTippin25.com. If you open it up, there's a picture of me holding the inside cover of the Aaron Tippin first CD, where I'm in this sleeveless shirt, and we went out and found one just like it and put it on again, just in remembrance, you know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Well, the only reason I bring that up is because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are on the other side of the like fans and stuff. They probably think that, oh, he probably got signed to his deal because of that, but actually it's because of your songwriting, because you were doing that. Before you got signed as a singer, you were signed as a staff songwriter. Is that
absolutely right? That's absolutely right. You know, because that's what happened. I came to Nashville after I'd been on You Could Be a Star, and I had my VCR tape. Is that right?
Yeah, VCR
tape.
Yeah.
You know, and so, man, I made copies of it, and I took it around to RCA, and I took it around to CBS.
Oh wow, really?
I took it around to Warner Brothers. And I never heard nothing.
So that's true, because I'm going to ask you this because I've always heard I went and knocked on everybody's door, and I always wondered, did they really go knock on everybody's door? Because I never have done that, and maybe I should have. I don't know, but I didn't know what doors to knock on in the first place. But you really actually did that. You went to everybody.
I did, and in those days, that's still how it worked. That is still, it could happen like that, you know.
Yeah.
They were becoming more and more resistant to outside material and stuff, or stuff they hadn't chased, you know, but it could still work in those days. So, but anyway, it didn't happen there, and you know, I had a great champion that really believed in me, Charlie Monk, and I'd written when I moved to Nashville, I'd written for Charlie, and the deal was, I'll give you a warm place in the wintertime and a cool place in the summertime to write songs. You just give me first refusal. Oh. And so that's where it started. And
what does that mean, first refusal, for people who don't know?
From a publisher standpoint, that means that I have to turn my song into him, and he'll listen to it, and he'll go, yeah, I like that one. I want publishing on it. So I'll sign a deal with him saying that he is responsible for collecting what royalties we can get out of that song.
Okay.
From now on. So anyway, that's how that works.
Okay.
So anyway, that was a deal with him, so it was a great deal. Yeah. And plus, he turned me on to so many great writers.
Oh, yeah.
Max D. Barnes. I wrote with Max D. Barnes. Idiot, know nothing, hillbilly, can't make good coffee. Got to write with Max D. Barnes. Whitey Schaefer.
Wow. And at that time?
Jim McBride. We wrote, me and Jim McBride, in my very, very early days, wrote Born with a Broken Heart.
Oh, I love that song.
Well, and they taught me my craft.
Really?
They taught me my craft.
Now, back then, did you know those guys? Like, were you in awe, or did you just think, I'm writing with this guy?
Are you kidding? I mean, I knew who they were.
Okay.
I knew who they were. Man, I'd seen enough back of albums to go,
yeah.
Holy smokes. He wrote that?
Yeah.
You know, so I was in awe, and man, I didn't mind being a sweep-up guy. You know, sure. I didn't mind at all, and I learned. Well,
that's how you learn.
That's how you learn. That's how you learn.
Soak it up,
and you soak it up, and man, you go. Next time I'll be better, and I'll be ready. And it's interesting you should say that, because now Tom's my youngest son is in the grind of trying to be a great songwriter.
Yeah,
and he's at the position where he's going, God, I just don't feel like I'm contributing much, or I ain't got a great idea. And I just go, you're feeling the right thing.
That's right.
When you feel guilty, you're feeling the right thing.
We were talking on the bus the other night when he came out on the show and opened one of the Roots and Boots show, and I remember me and him were talking about that. Y'all had gone to bed, and he's like, "God, I just feel like I'm in a dry spell right now," and this and that. I said, "Oh man, it's like a never-ending chase to feel like you wrote a good song,
right?"
You know, I mean, it's like it's. I don't think you ever feel that accomplished. Which brings me to you. You've had how many number one songs have you written?
You know what? I haven't had that many number ones. I've had a lot more million spin records, but I think, 4? I guess 4.
Oh, really?
That's all.
And
I know Sammy said, "This boy had a lot of number one records."
Well, you say that's all, but that's nothing to shake a stick at.
Well,
I mean,
you know, but it's, yeah.
I should have said hit records.
But I had a few radio stations, different parts of America, and they just didn't like the twang in my voice. And so, I don't know, they'd probably thumb their nose at the national anthem.
Well, let me ask you this. So you get your first number one. Do you go, well, I'm a songwriter now. I'm a bona fide songwriter. Or do you ever reach that point? Did you ever feel like you ever reached that point where you said, yeah, I'm a songwriter and this is what I do? Or was it before the number one?
I think I realized I was a songwriter before the number one. What I realized about the number one was that's not as important as a hit.
Okay.
A hit is a lot more important than number one. You know, number one record is a lot of opinion and from the industry point of view.
Okay.
And a smash and a hit, that's from record sales.
So you're saying there's a difference between having a number one and a hit?
Absolutely.
And what would a good example of each one of those be to you?
Well, You Got to Stand for Something was not a number one record.
And that's a hit.
That was a hit.
Okay. That's a great explanation of that.
My Blue Angel was not a number one record. Barely a top 10.
Really?
But it was a hit.
Wow.
You Got to Stand... not Stand for...
What was the four?
With the Stars and Stripes and the Eagle Fly.
That wasn't a number one?
No, sir.
Whew. That's crazy to think now because...
There were still 3, maybe 5 radio stations in America would not play it.
Man, we play that song. When we play it every night,
well,
it's a
God bless you.
ovation.
I appreciate it. And you know what?
I mean, it
doesn't matter for those guys who didn't play it. It was a hit.
Well, yeah. And I'll tell you how I know the difference of that is, and I still to this day, when we play that song, especially like if there's military people in the crowd or, first responders or policemen or anybody like that, man, it's hard not to get choked up playing that song. And I'm over there. I don't know if you still get that feeling, but I'm over there trying to sing backup with a lump in my throat, and I'm looking at all the people and there's American flags waving everywhere. And it's like, it's really overwhelming.
The first note every night since the first time I ever played it, I was in North Georgia. I was playing it for the first time. I didn't even know if I could get through it.
Really? Oh.
This was right after it all happened. And man, I played that song, and every night, bow, dow, 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 that rushes through my head because it's one of the most powerful moments of my life.
That song is just it's powerful in itself.
Dude, you know what? Alan wrote a cool song about a sad situation. A lot of guys wrote stuff, but you know what? I did not want a song that talked about how our country had been sucker punched by the enemy. Man, I wanted something that united us all.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you not write that before 9/11?
Oh, yeah. We did. We wrote that 2 years before 9/11.
Right. See, so you weren't riding the wave like some guys were riding, I got to write a song about what happened. You'd already wrote this song.
We'd already written it. And here's another funny thing. I was with Lyric Street that time. And I'd turned that song in to put it on an album previous to that one. And they kind of said, "Nah, let's just don't do a patriotic thing." Or it didn't get they did, and I always turn my music in along with everybody else's. If we had outside songs and my songs, they all went together. And I was very cooperative about me and the record label picking songs, not just me. and I didn't throw a fit,
Right.
and so it didn't get on it. And I go, okay, that's cool. You guys want to do it? That's fine. I thought it was cool because it's one of those things about Aaron Tippin that people expect to hear.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, if you got a different thought, that's fine. Okay, I accept that. But the truth is, I think that was kind of God sent, because I think if I put it on that album, it'd have got buried.
That's very possible.
And when it did come to life, it had never met the public before. So I think that was God sent.
Yeah.
I think that was God sent.
That's one of those good misses, or what do they call it?
Good miss.
It's that's a great song. And speaking of what you're saying, there's certain songs that people probably expect material that would be an Aaron Tippin song. And there's a funny story that you tell about one of your other hits, about a song that and you tell this every night when we play this at a show, and that's about That's the Close I'll Get to Loving You.
Oh, yeah.
And you at first thought, right, like, because that's one song, most people don't know this, but that's one song that you didn't write.
I did not write that. And man, boy, don't I wish I did.
Well.
Because it worked out well.
It worked out well.
But, I just didn't think people wanted to hear that from Aaron Tippin. I just didn't think they wanted to hear that. And you know what? In all these, and as the song showed me, they did want to hear that, and they just wanted to hear me perform a song. And Steve Gibson, Steve was the one that I think made that song come to life.
Yeah.
Because if I'd have done it in the normal voice that I would have done it in, it'd have been like, that's as close. It'd have been way out of range. And I'd been touring a lot, and Steve said, Aaron, let's try this, man. Let's just lower this thing.
Oh, so it was written higher than
it was written high, way up there where I usually sing.
Oh, man.
And so
it's pretty high in that one.
It does. And so I don't believe me. I was a young man then, Vince. Okay.
Well, I mean,
get off my back.
No, I'm just saying that there's a couple. What is it? The last verse or the last chorus?
It mods. Yeah. It mods again.
Oh, that thing mods all over the place. That's one of the most mystic songs I've ever had to learn playing. I still don't know it. So
yeah, I can't imagine what they were smoking when they.
I'm sure you know that. I still don't know that song. No, but, what's funny? I remember when I first. I think I came out and subbed a show. It was a Roots and Boots show, but then after that. I came and did a full band show with you, and we were just talking about songwriting. I think we were riding the bus, and we were talking about stuff like that, about material and what suits who and what. And I remember you saying, "What's your favorite Aaron Tippin song?" And I said, "Oh, one of my top one is That's as Close as I Get to Loving You." And you went,
"Thanks, you son of a man."
And I was like, "What? Why is that a bad answer?" I said,
bad answer.
I just said, I remember thinking the melody was the chord structure was so different.
Wow,
and it's all over the place, and it's a cool melody. And you said that is not that was never Aaron Tippin song. And I thought back, and I was like, what does he mean? And I went, oh yeah, gotta stand for something.
Right. And that was my deal.
Yeah.
That was my deal with it. That my audience would not accept that. They wouldn't. But you know what? They enjoyed hearing just me sing that type of music. And
do you think that's why it was a hit, because it was a little different than
maybe it was
like the hardworking man?
Maybe that was it entirely. I've never thought of it like that.
It's not a bad song, so
it's a great song, and I take nothing away from it. I just didn't think it was for Mr. Stanford song.
Okay, I just didn't. What's your favorite song that you've written, that you've recorded, and that you do?
Well, it's
or do you have can you narrow it down?
Absolutely, because I
know where this is.
Right.
I know what this is.
Because because I love all my songs, but they get special for special reasons.
Sure.
And this one, a tune called "He Believed," that my lovely wife Thea and I wrote about my dad after he passed.
Yeah.
And here's the deal: if you like the Aaron Tippin music, it's music all about my dad.
That's the root of it all.
That's the root of it all. It's the root of it's what he instilled in me. So this song is just and you do know it. You have to listen.
I have to ask.
You have to listen to the story every night.
No, I have to ask this because I have to pretend like the listeners don't know you as well I do. So that's why I asked, do you have a favorite song? But that's obviously one of my favorite songs, because you have that dad bond. So that song, when I heard it,
and you don't.
oh my God.
And you don't. And you don't.
What?
You don't have the dad bond.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what
Right,
me
yeah.
and you have that.
That's one of our major connections.
Yeah,
our dads, man. Our dads are our heroes.
Oh yeah, shoot,
That's coolest.
That's a whole other
guys
podcast right there, probably. I mean, we can talk
Amen.
about our dads.
We could.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, and so we wrote that song, and it just. It's never been to country radio, and
and it's such a good hook too, man. I mean,
and it's inspiring.
Yeah. Well,
Man.
you have to go download on iTunes or whatever and listen to it to get what the hook is, because the title is He Believed, but the hook is
He Believed in Me.
Oh man. And did you write that? You and your wife and Thea wrote that.
Me and Thea.
Just you guys.
That's us two.
No third parties together.
Ain't that right, Mama? Okay.
We got the nod.
Yeah, we got the nod.
Well,
and Holly and Thea are overseeing this production.
And our wine glasses.
Shut up! Stop
Hey,
cussing.
speaking of wine glasses, we need to talk about. You have a whole line of wine.
Oh yeah,
with your name and your
buddy.
picture on a bottle and all kinds of good crazy.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
man. Stonehousewinery.com. You guys got to go check us out. We got right now we're running a cherry, which is really awesome. You've had the cherry. Enjoy that. And anyway, we had a blackberry there for a while, and that was really great and did good. But this cherry is, man, it's going rampant.
Well,
People are
let me
loving it.
clear something up, because people come up in the fan line and stuff, and they ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, so Aaron owns his own winery and stuff," and I'm like, "No."
Right. We're
So you don't have a winery. It's just that you work with Stonehouse Winery to make the wine but you actually create the wine, right?
we partnered up with Stonehouse Winery in Crossville, Tennessee, friends of ours through our church, and no, we don't have our own winery. We are partners with those guys. I am co-winemaker with their winemaker, and me and Jan just get in there, and she kind of gives me the grunt stuff, and which I've never seen barrels that or vats that are 1,000 gallons apiece.
Dang.
And man,
That's like a kid in a candy store for you.
There's a room full of amen. Amen.
That's like Willy Wonka. You walking in there. I guess you'd have to
I'll just lay under here. Give me a mattress.
Well, I guess you'd have to be home if you own a winery. You'd have to be home to be running that thing, right? And which you and I never are. You're still. I mean,
right.
You're still turned like crazy, man.
Well,
so.
and wine takes that kind of attention.
Yeah.
If you see a vat that's really getting hot, man, you got to stay on it to make sure it cools down and it doesn't spoil the wine. And
because it's got to ferment, right? And
it's got to ferment, and if it gets too hot, the wine spoils. If it gets too cold, the fermentation stops. There's a lot of things that go on in wine.
And you
making.
know all that stuff. You know all the chemistry and all that stuff behind it, don't you?
I do, but Jan, man, our winemaker at Stonehouse, man, she knows everything 10 times more than me, and just lets me be the follow along idiot and do the legwork.
Taste tester.
Taste tester and the legwork. I pump the tanks and we figure out the amount of purifications we need to. Oh, somebody's calling you.
I don't even know. Haggard's calling me.
What?
That must be Stonehouse now. Well, let's just ignore that even happened. You were talking about so how many different flavors, or do you call them flavors?
Two right now.
Okay.
We got two right now. We're working on another one. We're kind of figuring out what we want to do next. We've had such success with both flavors. We'd love to do another one, kind of create a 3-pack, of Aaron Tippin wine. So we're working on that.
Oh, that'd be cool. 3-pack.
Oh yeah, man!
These are all, they're like, what do they call them? Sweet wines? Is it a sweet?
Yeah, they are sweet wines.
Okay,
they're sweet wines, but you can do a lot of things with them.
Sure.
I mean, you can you can fortify them if you want to, and on top of that, man, I've had friends call me back after I handed off this cherry and say, "Wow, man, we just poured it over ice cream. You can't believe what this tastes like."
No, what now? Why? I mean, because I know you drink Cab and Chardonnay and stuff. Now,
yeah, we're typically dry wine drinkers, but you know what? We love this stuff. I'm telling you, if a bottle comes home here, it's gone. It's gone. It is gone. And at the end of supper, there's.
But
none
I mean,
left.
do you have any interest in creating your own Chardonnay or Cab or something like that? Or why did you go that?
What
why did you
I'm
go that
interested in, if it can be grown in Tennessee,
okay,
I'm all about it.
Oh, so that type of grape is only accessible here.
Yeah, right. And a Chardonnay can be reds. Red wines like a Zinfandel or a Cab. Okay. They are hard to grow here. If I found somebody I was close to in California or Oregon or Washington,
where that type of grape is grown,
that was really close to me personally, I might do that.
Okay,
I might do that, and then bring it back to Tennessee.
Okay.
Bring the juice back to Tennessee and make wine from there.
See, I
might do that.
I might do that.
But it needs to be very personal. You know, the wine we make with the Ramseys at Stonehouse, it is very personal. It is
everything you do is personal.
Well,
that's what's great about Aaron Tippin.
Well, I don't know how else to be. I don't know how else to be.
That's exactly right, brother. I don't know.
You can have two personalities, but I'm a guy that just don't know how.
I hear that, man. Well, I also get other questions because I don't know if most people know this or not. When I say the fan line, you sign autographs after every single one of your shows. And so if people come to an Aaron Tippin show and they go, I sure wish I could get his autograph, you're going to get one.
You'd only know that because you're out there with me every day.
That's why I bring that up, because people come in the line and they say, how come he's not selling his wine here? But you actually have to have like a liquor license, right, to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, the liquor laws are crazy across state lines. So we can't. But you can order it.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
And sometimes we come to states that you can't order to that state.
Oh,
but think about your cousin. Think about your sister.
Yeah.
Think about your brother.
So where can people go to find
other states? And they get the wine for you. You go down, take a visit. Boom. Pick it up. Come on back home.
Trafficking wine.
Better than that. I visit the winery constantly because I'm working on wines.
No.
So if you're looking for a trip, come on down. Come on down to Stonehouse Winery. Pick it up yourself.
There you go. But can people order it online and have it shipped?
They can, and then certain states won't allow it. Certain states will. So you just go to StonehouseWinery.com,
and that's Stonehouse Haus, right?
Haus. It's German Haus.
Stonehouse.
Jawohl.
But so certain states you can get it shipped to, and if not, like you said, just come down here and get it your damn self.
Get your damn self.
Well, man, I know it's getting late here at the Tippin household, and thanks for having me over here. I love you.
Have enough of me?
I didn't have enough. The listeners might have, but I haven't. I'm just kidding.
I bet they have.
Let's talk about welding some more.
Yeah, come on. First of all,
is this a good beat? No. Well, there's probably a part two in the midst, in the workings here, because we didn't even cover the touring and buses breaking down and
we'll get there.
Getting thrown around on a bus.
Man, we got some great stories.
Man, we got stuff.
I don't know what we can tell legally, but yes.
Yeah, let's save that for a different podcast.
My lawyers will be in touch.
But we do want to remind everybody to go to AaronTippin.com, and you can come out and see. Most of the time, Aaron, I'm out there with him with it's called the Roots and Boots show, and it's Sammy Kershaw, it's Colin Ray, and Aaron Tippin, and it's pretty much 90 minutes of hit music. 90s,
unless, of course, you're out on your tour.
Well,
making people laugh like crazy.
Trying. So that 3 times out of the year I'm gone. Thanks, brother. I love you so much.
Love you, bro.
You're like one of my best friends in the whole world, not only in the music business, but just in general. So I'll drink to that. Cling. You guys, thanks for listening to Music and Memories. This has been an awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and there's going to be another one. They'll probably by the time we get done with this thing, it'll be Aaron Tippin Part 5. So you guys make sure you share this thing. Go to SoundCloud and follow, and as always, share it on Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff. Go to VinceMoreno.net and do what you can. And we sure appreciate you guys. And thanks again, Aaron Tippin. You the man.
Thanks for joining us for the latest installment of Music and Memories with your host, Vince Moreno. Visit VinceMoreno.net for show dates, music, and more.